Hi, Ripley here. Before we jump into this episode of Monster Vault, I just want to let you know that the time has arrived. The Concordia City of Tomorrow starter set is now complete and available to you. This set includes everything you need to start playing the game. Even if you've never played or run a role-playing game yourself, this is the set for you. A solo adventure and first group adventure are written specifically for first-time role-playing game players. And best of all, it's free. Head on over to the website. The address is spookyroomproductions.com. There you'll find more information on the game and links to download from the Drive-Thru RPG website. And that's not all. While on the website, you can also find a link to the Spooky Room Patreon. If you enjoy this podcast and want to hear more episodes quicker, then support us on Patreon. That's all for now. I'll let you get back to the podcast.
Why don't you come into our monster vault?
Welcome to Monster Vault. We're back after a long hiatus. Are you glad to be back, Randall?
Oh, that's my introduction?
Yeah.
Hello, bonjour! I am Crandall. Hello, bonjour.
Hello, bonjour.
Hello, bonjour.
Welcome back to Monster Vault Podcast, where we rate and review monsters with our scientific list of categories. And we're still working on werewolves. Do we want to talk about the movie we didn't review?
I mean, obviously, yeah.
What was it called?
I don't know.
Wolfen?
Maybe.
Something like that. Terrible.
It was really bad.
Terrible movie. That was there was like 2 or 3 we thought about doing, and then we watched that one because it was very high on a list, and not good. And then you keep watching it because the really awesome thing that everyone is saying the movie is good for is going to come, and it never does.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's bad. But here, we're going to be talking about Dog Soldiers,
We
which
finished watching it, and then we said, that one's good enough.
that one's, I didn't feel offended or like they'd wasted my time on purpose. It was fine.
Yeah,
It was
I think as a movie, it's fine. That's
Mhm.
exactly what it is.
The problem with werewolves is, like I was saying, it's like you're either just watching people that are very strong fight each other, so you might as well be watching wrestling, or it's like nature, where it's just like, it might as well just be a wild animal attacking you.
And I mean, in this movie, with all the guns, it's very, which you would expect with a soldier in the title. But to me, if there's like a lot of shooting, I just find it really boring.
Yeah,
So to me,
action movie.
it was hard. Yeah, it was very. I would say it's almost more of an action movie than a horror movie, but that's just because of, I don't know. My brain doesn't like action movies.
Like, it
very
would have been the same thing if they were just being attacked by hillbillies.
Yeah.
Like, just
except-
waves of hillbillies.
Well, the thing is, they did shoot the monsters a lot, and it didn't take the monsters down. And you would think with hillbillies, you would take them down. Is all.
Yeah, but, all you'd have to do is triple the amount of hillbillies, because they had, 6 werewolves?
Yeah.
So you have 18 hillbillies would be equal to 6 werewolves.
And I guess the hillbillies would probably have guns as well.
Yeah. They wouldn't just be going, "Burn,"
Trying to
attacking
tickle
someone.
you.
Oh, okay. So Dog Soldiers, movie about soldiers going into the woods. They end up being, what do you call it? You can edit all these ums out.
No, okay.
They are
What are we talking about?
the first set of soldiers that went in.
The ones that shot the dog?
No. The normal soldiers that went in.
They were normal soldiers.
Oh, what is that word?
I don't know. Training?
No, when you got a trap and you put stuff in it.
Bait?
Bait. So these guys
We
were the
got
bait for the
there.
werewolves. The werewolves were supposed to come out and jump those guys. And, hi, Hermes.
Hermes is here.
He's here, and he's attacking all the things.
He's almost a year
He's
old
like, oh,
now.
I see her up and about. That's nice, attacking all the boards. So they were the bait, and then the Special Forces soldiers were supposed to kill the werewolves while the bait died.
Yes.
But it didn't go down that way. The werewolves ended up attacking the Special Forces soldiers and killed them all, and then the regular soldiers walked in, got their guns, and then we start the movie for realsies.
Well, they almost killed them all.
except for one guy that ended up turning into a werewolf later.
He wolfed out.
See, I don't usually feel the need to go over the plot of these movies because it's just like, come on, you guys know these movies. But Dog Soldiers, you might not. So go watch Dog Soldiers and then come back, and then we'll rate them. But before we get into that, we've got other podcast stuff to do.
Housekeeping.
He's attacking my arm. For everything Spooky Room Productions, you can go to spookyroomproductions.com, see what we're working on, all the cool things. Or you can go to Ripley Stonebrook on Instagram, or Spooky Room Productions on Facebook. And Crandall, have you got some spots to go to?
Same spots. Oh, no, wait. spookyroomproductions.com/a-few-dozen-monkeys, as, of course, you guys all know, because why would you listen to this and not know? I have a podcast called A Few Dozen Monkeys that is a good time. It's an interactive writing a story together podcast. Yeah, just go listen to it. You'll understand.
Yeah, it's horror. Your guy's gonna like, oh my god! Now he's just knocking shit off the table. he looked at it and he was like, "Fuck this! I'm getting attention. Hold on, I gotta hold my baby."
Oh, and the podcast is not just in audio form. I have something I'm calling an illustrated podcast on my YouTube channel on Crandall Monk on YouTube.
And it's wonderful.
I have other stuff on
They're
there
real
as
illustrations. I'm now cradling a baby cat. Oh,
he's
my baby.
almost a year old. He's barely hanging on to his babyhood.
And speaking of, you can go to the Ripley Stonebrook channel on he's attacking YouTube. And see this podcast and other things. But this podcast is not illustrated. We did some experiments with video, and it did not work out, so we're going a pure audio form only. And, oh, my God. He's gnawing on me now. He's just little love bites. He's wonderful. Oh, yes. And, of course, at the spookyroomproductions.com website, you can also find it about the Concordia City of Tomorrow role-playing game. The newest book is coming soon. We got any other housekeeping you want to talk about?
No, I think that's everything.
Oh, that's lovely. And let's get into monsters. And this is the part where we usually discuss the movie facts, when the movie was made. You know what? It doesn't really matter. It's a so-so werewolf movie with some so-so werewolf special effects. You can find it okay. Let's just go straight to the categories.
Powers.
All right. Do these werewolves have any magical powers?
They can heal.
Okay. Yeah, we got the healing.
They have healing.
Mm-hmm.
They seem tall.
Yes. And they are strong. So we've got basically the same things we have in all the other werewolf movies. We're not bringing anything new to the story here. We see them punch through a top of a truck. So
yes.
Definitely stronger than a human. Although they seem to be thwarted by doors later on, very weak bathroom doors that you could probably kick down.
Yeah. Well, maybe those are different werewolves, because this is actually a werewolf family.
Yeah. Of up to 6 werewolves, I said?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that was just the weak one or something. I don't know.
You're so forgiving of the movie.
Well, it didn't hurt my
But
feelings.
in theory, they can punch through metal. So pretty strong. But, we're not looking at anything new. We're seeing the same werewolf thing over and over again. They can heal. They can be super strong.
Well,
but
look, okay, I understand what you're saying, but can you be angry about it? So that's like saying, oh, werewolves, always drinking blood. I mean, vampires. Oh, vampires, they can't go in the sun. I mean, you can't blame that.
That's true. This is more of a modern take on it because
the nature of the creature.
We watched a lot of older werewolf movies and 70s werewolf movies, so it was kind of nice to watch something that was, like 2000s?
Yeah.
Something like that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice to see something somewhat modern.
Yeah.
But I guess for powers, we'd give them like a 7 or an 8. Like that healing thing is still always good. The strength is always good. But it's only during the full moon. These are kind of the werewolves that cannot transform at will, so it's only at the full moon.
Yeah.
And then they decide to hunt as a pack. But also,
Remember at the end, the one girl was like, and now I'll turn into a werewolf. We're like, you were a werewolf the whole time?
Yes.
So all the other ones had to transform? Or did they?
That's the thing. And she was like, I'm a werewolf expert. I studied them for a year. But then it turned out she was in the werewolf family all along.
Yeah.
But why why was
So
the
they
rest of her
obviously turned
family
her
wolfed
earlier.
out and then she was not wolfed out?
Yeah, exactly.
So apparently maybe you can resist it for a while. She did eventually wolf out.
Yes. So maybe it's like you can only transform during the full moon, or maybe you can only...
That's the only time you can
yeah.
choose to do it. Maybe. And they were like, yeah, of course, it's fucking badass being a werewolf. And
So it's just terrible when these kind of movies like throw something like that in the end where you're like, oh, well, now what does that mean?
yes.
Come on. So I'm going to get Powers
Okay.
8.
Yeah, we have to actually, I forgot what we were doing. We were just talking. Okay.
Well, that's what it's all about.
Powers.
It's lively debate
The
about
number,
the powers.
let me think.
I will point out
Like
that
a-
Crandall has the numbers of previous werewolves in front of her while
I am not looking at them, to be
She's
honest.
not looking.
Because I don't remember any of the other ones anyway. Except for the mincing of the
We'll get to that when we get to spookiness.
But anyway, okay, so Powers, I say like a 7.
Fair. Split the difference.
So what? 7.5.
Yeah,
I
that
forget.
sounds good.
Okay.
Oh, it's classic. It's like we're right back in it.
Bar fighting.
All right, these guys are, like most of the werewolves, good bar fighters.
They are good bar fighters, but you remember the special forces guy? He started wolfing out,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the end he was fighting the blonde guy,
Yes.
and the wolf was literally punching the guy. He punched him like 3 times. I'm assuming as hard as he could, because why would he hold back? He's
yeah,
a werewolf,
yeah.
and the guy was like, duh. You know what I mean? Like he was fine.
And plus that bar fight in the kitchen where the guys were, one guy had a knife and the other werewolf was just basically attacking him. And he didn't take him down instantly.
Yeah.
So,
to be honest, I mean, they're big, they're strong, they're fast, they have claws and teeth,
but they seem to have Arnold Schwarzenegger style strength.
all show, no go.
Yeah. Like they could do all these things to inanimate objects, but when they actually fight a human, it's always the same. They're like, oh, they punch them or they hit them. I mean, they could bite their head off. That did happen. But
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's another thing where it's like you can punch through a car, but when you punch a dude in the face 3 times,
Oh, you know what it
he's
is?
fine.
at certain points, the werewolves are messing with them when they're like, I just want to punch it out for a little bit. Because, most of the time in those first few attacks, they took those guys out instantly.
That's true.
We had 2 different
Oh, you're
people that
right.
had their intestines completely wiped out
Yeah, that's true.
with their claws.
The werewolves did destroy that entire troop of special force guys. So they had their
And plus, that
initial
special force guy in the basement, that was the first time he transformed. So maybe he couldn't control his body as well. So I'm willing to dial it up a little bit,
Yeah.
and go back to my originals. They're a pretty good bar fighter.
You're so easy on those movies. Can you say something like that to me a couple minutes ago?
On those smovies?
I don't. I think I've had
She
too
loves
much.
those
I think I've
movies.
had too much wine. Okay. What
So
was it?
again, I'm going to give them way high, like an 8.
Yeah, I actually totally agree. I think 8 is exactly how good they would be in a bar fight.
Because I'm not going to give them something crazy like a 9 or a 10 because I feel that needs a certain amount of skill.
Yeah.
if-
And these are animal.
Yeah, exactly. If
I
someone
mean,
had
no,
a decent
wait a
weapon to
second.
defend
I'm so
themselves.
sorry. They were intelligent. Remember, they decided to cut the lights or whatever.
Yeah, but they didn't have actual good fighting skills. They just happened to be very strong and have claws and teeth.
Yeah.
Like, say they had to fight like a full armored knight or something,
Okay.
which not obviously going to happen in a bar brawl.
At night,
A knight, yeah.
At night. I
Yes,
mean.
exactly.
I was in The Sims has night.
But I'm saying, if they had to, fight somebody, or maybe like even a kung fu guy, he'd be
Yeah.
like, use your strength against you kind of thing.
Yeah, you're
Maybe
right.
that would be
Okay,
something.
so
But I'm definitely giving them an 8.
8. Yeah, 8. We agreed on 8, right?
I think
8.
8 sounds good.
They're strong.
Weaknesses.
All right, these guys, werewolves we've dealt with before, and this one is a little different because we saw most times with the werewolves, they can only be killed with something that's made of silver, but only killed in a way that would kill you anyway. So you have to be beaten to death with a silver
Yeah.
thing, shot with a silver bullet, so it would kill you anyway. But because you're a werewolf, it means it actually has an effect. In this one, the very beginning of the movie, we saw a silver letter opener, which one of the campers had, which the werewolves decided to keep
I know.
and stash in the basement. Why wouldn't you? If you're a werewolf that can only be damaged by silver, and we see later on how much, let's keep that.
Yeah.
So the guy finds a tiny letter opener. It's not even a big letter opener. It's tiny. He stabs him in the belly. Are we supposed to believe it's his heart? I don't know, but it looked like he stabbed him in the belly. And then he was completely thwarted. He keeled over, and then he shot him in the head and he died.
Yeah.
So as long as he's stabbed or touched in some way with silver, he's just going to go? Okay.
Well, at least he was. Maybe it just interrupts the regeneration process.
Yeah, just having the silver in there is going to mess it all up.
Yeah.
Which is kind of underworldy, world darknessy. Don't worry.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, it's a more modern way of looking at it, and it's just like, okay. So these ones have a pretty serious weakness to silver, I would say, making their weakness score fairly low. Like that guy was completely thwarted once he got hit by that thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if a slash would have did it, so I'm going to give it like a 5.
I agree.
A
5.
She always agrees with the weaknesses. If you guys hadn't noticed. Because it's my category, and she doesn't really see it the same way I see it.
She doesn't understand it very well. And remember how mad he got in the first episode when I didn't understand, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't know.
Those are weird times, all right?
Oh, it's fine. And people could go back and listen.
I could go back with a 5. Don't go back. No. Should I go back? I don't know. So 5 for weakness.
Pack size.
I mean, like this one had a pretty big pack size, 6, and they increased their pack size by 1, 2, 3. So we had the zoologist plus the 2 soldiers that they attacked and became part of the pack almost immediately, like within the same night.
Yeah.
So the pack size could grow pretty quickly.
But also, I don't know if they are an actual family or if they just call themselves that and live together because they're all werewolves.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a baby with someone, is that a baby? Is that a werewolf?
Oh, like they're genetically werewolves.
Yeah.
Could be.
So if they can
Because
breed,
they made an effort of saying their last name, which I don't remember, and saying, oh, they're an ancient family. And I think that was part of like, oh, they're an ancient family. They've always been werewolves.
So if you can breed werewolves as well as create them through attack.
I mean, slower to breed them, but sure.
I mean, what if you attack 100 people and then they start breeding?
Because I got to assume they attacked the zoologist, and for some reason she was like, and I'll stick around.
Yeah, that
after
didn't
she
make
became a
any
werewolf.
sense.
But I guess after you're a werewolf, where are you going to go?
So we don't know. But attack infestation is very powerful, and you could amass a big group.
Yeah, a big pack
quickly.
as soon as you wanted it. You just attack the people and not let them die, and there you go. Like those guys had their guts spilled out, and they still lived because they'd been attacked by a werewolf.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of the people could live, and pack size could grow pretty big.
So
but
I
I'm
guess-
not going to give it like something insane.
Okay, a pack size, because of the potential, I'm going 4.
4. I was thinking 6.
Okay.
So I guess we'll split the difference.
Yeah.
Pack size 5.
Spookiness.
All right, now we have a lot to say about this.
Well,
Well, because this gets into the werewolf effects, we'll say, of the werewolves
Yes.
when they appear in the movie. What was the first one we saw that we were like, oh?
looks like a doll, I don't know.
We only saw really a silhouette, and they were kind of prancing about with their fingers up in the air.
Look, but I always
I'm doing fingers up in the air like you can see it, but they were just sort of jazz handing around
they
with
were
their
jazz
long,
handing
skinny
around.
fingers with talons on them.
Yeah.
Like the director's like, hold your hands up. Now show everyone you've got claws. Show those claws. And they all had like dancer bodies for some reason.
Yeah.
And big bobbleheads.
Like really big heads.
And you're like, okay, there's a huge head on that. I can get it, for animatronics to fit all the stuff in for the eyes and the mouth and stuff. But they never did anything. They might as well have been puppet heads. So why go so big?
It was unpleasant.
And some of them were like skinny, weird dog head. And they're like, that's the lady wolf. And it's like, a lady wolf, it doesn't look completely different from a male wolf.
But
They look like completely different breeds.
remember, wolves are not werewolves. Werewolves are mystical creatures and may have similar.
Yes.
Who
Although
knows?
some of them look like husky dogs. Some of them look like,
Like wolf.
some sort of purebred thing. Another one looked like a wolf with like a weird,
Yeah.
big, huge muzzle. So they all look completely different for some reason. I don't know if that was just the person making them was like, I'm getting bored.
Or I'm getting better.
Yeah, that could be too. But when it made them look ridiculous because they looked like had these weird dancer bodies and they had weird arm extensions that made their arms look long and also on stilts, but that made them walk around all strange and weird
Yes.
and dainty and mincy like.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And whenever they would punch something, you'd see this giant long arm come in and be waved around like it's a hand on a stick.
Yeah, they would always punch through, and then they'd be like, "I'm gonna tickle you." Little tickle fingers coming through.
All their hands would just be wiggling fingers because it's obviously an animatronic puppet of some sort. I think they didn't have control over their own fingers because they had some sort of an extension on their arm, which made the just fingers jiggling was all they could do, and it comes off really sad. It's really sad. And whenever they come through a window or something, they sort of, I think they were trying to make that backwards knee thing for a dog, but it just made them seem really strange. Like, they didn't look scary. They just looked like very uncomfortable and strange humans, like mincing about the place.
They weren't mincing as much as Lon Chaney Jr.
Yeah, on tippy toes.
Yeah, that was intense. Now,
Tippy toes, Lon Chaney.
when I am judging spookiness on this very scientific thing we're doing, I always think if that was an actual thing,
Yes.
and I was actually in that situation, how scared I'd be.
Oh, it'd be
really,
terrifying.
really scared.
Even just take the weird way they were walking around, take the wolf head off, and just put a human head on there. That's creepy.
Like, they are violent.
Yeah.
They want to eat me. And you know, I don't know why you just fucking board up the windows and wait it out if it's only one night, but whatever. It's not a movie, I guess, if you do that.
But I mean, even a bear would be scary if you're like, oh.
That's true. Like, if you think of it as like
and
a
we probably
bear,
have the same argument over and over for all these episodes. But people, that's what you're here for. You want to hear these same things over and over again.
But if a bear was that violent and completely intent and would smash through doors to get at me, I'd be fucking terrified.
Yeah, but we're talking about spookiness, not scariness. You know, a rock rolling down a hill is going to be scary if it's coming right at you.
That's true.
Spookiness.
Okay, I'm going to give spookiness 7.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with that too.
Okay.
I mean, we're giving them some hits for being very silly.
There was silliness for sure, but like I said, if I was in that situation, I mean, that's scary as fuck.
I mean, the only werewolves that seemed pretty scary was The Howling so far?
The Howling got a 5 on spookiness. American Werewolf in London got a 7. And Universal got 1.5. Now, you know, looking at the chart and comparing, I think it actually should be a 6 because I think the American Werewolf in London.
And what did you say
were
originally?
Scarier. 7.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that though.
7?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we'll stay at 7.
And it's not even that the makeup was that much better. It was you could actually see the werewolves every now and then moving about because they weren't scared to show them.
Yes.
And I think that really did help. Like, they did look weird, but I guess weird is spooky.
You mean in American Werewolf?
No, in Dog Soldiers.
Okay.
We could actually see them moving about and doing their thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to give them the 7. Because all these things I've talked about, at least it made them disconcerting and stand out a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Kill factor.
All right, we do have a couple in this one. We have attacking people and slashing them, and their guts falling out.
Yeah, we did. There was some gore, and it certainly looked practical to me.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
That's fun. You know, guts spilling out. That's a good time.
Like that first guy that got attacked, and it seemed like his guts were falling out. And then definitely Sarge had his guts falling out, and they're saying things like, oh, God, push them back in. Oh, they won't fit. And it's like, of course they'll fit. That's where they came from. So, yeah. And the biting the head off of the one guy.
Yeah, that was fun.
And they didn't, cut away from it. They're like, we're going to show this. When it happened, they bit the head off the guy, and I said, this is why the movie was made, so they could show this werewolf biting this head off this guy and then throwing it at the car and rolling up on the windshield.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay.
That was good time.
That's good times. That's gore.
So that's good.
Mm-hmm. They actually went for something there, and they did it.
They did.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say 4. I'm not looking at the other numbers now. I don't want to.
You don't want to jinx it?
Yeah, I don't want to color myself.
Yeah, I'm going to gore factor it. Maybe a good 6.
So 5-aroo.
I guess so.
I just didn't laugh. if I don't laugh,
Oh yeah, that's
to
how
me
you like
that's
your gore.
if I'm like, oh my god. Like,
Yes.
that's when I'm like, oh, this is good.
Mm-hmm.
And-
Like in a Jason movie where he does something particularly
Yeah, and
good. Yeah.
it's silly and fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Sean.
So here we're in Scotland, in the woods, but could they be anywhere? Or are we only talking about Scotland in the woods in a Wolfman situation?
It doesn't seem like there is a reason for them to stay here, but the lady who wolfed out, she did say, I thought you guys were my best chance to get out of here or whatever. But was she lying when she said that? But then again, she said that right before she wolfed out.
She wolfed out, exactly. So it's just like, was she
So-
lying to them? What was that
so-
going on?
but-
She said that right before she changed.
But does that indicate that there is some force keeping the werewolves in this area? Because this is a...
Especially if they're a family of werewolves that are generational. They're just like, we just like it here. All
But
right.
she said in the last year, I think 15 people were killed. Or
I know.
something.
It's just like, that's a high score.
So-
They're going to be coming for you soon.
And then I think she said mostly hikers.
And I mean, that many hikers goes missing. You're just going to,
I
like,
know.
after a certain amount go missing, you're like, let's just start checking the houses around here.
You
And they had
know-
a bunch of bodies in the basement.
maybe in Scotland.
Like, they would have
that's-
gotten busted anyway.
Maybe in Scotland that's normal.
Like, werewolf or not, there was a bunch of bodies in the basement. Like, okay.
yeah, some very
They were gonna get
clean
busted.
bones.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe there's the force field that's keeping them in is keeping the police out or whatever. Like, if we talk about
That's-
magic.
We
Anything's
said we
possible.
don't know.
So
do we think that this is establishing that they could be anywhere? No, I think we're in the same werewolf situation we were before, where they're around here, but not necessarily everywhere.
Yeah. So I guess that is really easy to avoid them. So I'm going to give them like a 1.
Yeah, and the one person that got infected and could have left didn't. That zoologist, she's like, I'll
Yeah.
stick around
Which
even after I got
that
changed.
makes me think that there must be something holding.
Like she
them
had a
there.
truck and she could have left,
Yeah.
and she was apparently on her way leaving, and then picked up all the soldiers for some reason. Just keep driving. But she didn't. She went back. So I guess once you're part of the pack, you're part of the pack. That's
but
the way
when
it
she
is.
said that, okay. When she said you're my best chance of getting out, does that mean that if the soldiers, did she think that the soldiers were going to kill all the other werewolves and then she would be free?
I don't know.
Uh,
So I'm going to go with location, pretty local.
yeah, I'm saying 1. Like if it's literally just that forest.
I think
for
it's
whatever
literally
reason.
just that forest, just that family. Just like we were dealing with in the other situation. It's a 1.
Uno.
Would you fuck it?
No.
No, I wouldn't fuck
No.
a dog. That's a 0.
Like, even if you just take their, mannerisms and stick it on the humans, I don't think those humans are fuckable.
That's not fuckable.
Even when they're not wolves. Like, they were weird.
Yeah, was that girl fuckable? I mean, she didn't seem to have
Oh,
much
the
of a
zoologist?
personality.
Well, we're not going to count her as part of the werewolves.
And we can't judge them by their human form. So
But,
that's a 0.
and if you're a wolf and you're like, I'm going to crawl in the window like this. No.
Yeah, that was weird.
They all seemed like drama nerds. You're like, oh, no, stay away.
Yeah, you can't trust actors to do that
No.
all the time.
It just- Would you fuck it? 0.
0.
Even as humans, 0 for those ones. Maybe they've just been in the woods too long and they're getting weird. Either way, same as hillbillies. 0.
You wouldn't fuck a hillbilly?
I don't know. There might be some, farmers' daughters out there
That's
somewhere.
what I'm saying.
All
Jesus
right, but,
Christ.
here we are. Lame parts and improvements. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're confusing at the end. Like, you've heard us confused about, what does this mean exactly? You stabbed him with the silver thing and now he's completely powerless? Or why did she not leave? Why did she say, you were my best chance out, and then completely lead them back to the house? Who knows? So just a little bit of plot tweaking, a little bit of addition. A lot of times when they were talking about werewolves and she could help them and she seemed to be on their side, but then she wasn't on their side at the end. And we're like, why
Yeah.
did she bother?
I didn't really understand.
Like, if she was just going to lead them back to the
Like,
house for
if
the
she
slaughter,
was-
then why did she help them kill the werewolves up until then?
Maybe she thought that they were going to be able to take out all the werewolves, and then when she noticed that they weren't doing it,
She flip-flopped.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I'm giving them a lot of credit. I don't know. I'm trying to help you, movie.
I know. She's trying so hard. She's very forgiving of you movies, but you schmovies don't make it easy.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that's lame parts that I would change. But mostly it was fine. It was fine.
it was fine.
Except for the editing. And I don't know if we just weren't paying attention, but it seemed like things would happen all of a sudden. Because we were watching it and we're like, okay, now they're on the move. Now they're on the run. All of a sudden they're in a Jeep. How did that happen? And then they were in the Jeep for a while before I noticed there's a girl there. And I was like, oh, she picked them up, but she wasn't, what? All of a sudden we were in a Jeep. I thought they found it. And I don't know what it was with the editing. I could not keep up. And I'm not one to fall behind. It just seems like they just should have taken a couple of seconds
really
more
not.
for each thing. Just to be like, okay, we're just going to make sure that you know what's happening next. It would move pretty quick once it started moving.
Yeah, and there was a lot of that, like, super close-up, jiggly action kind of filming, which, I don't know, man, action movies turn my brain off. And so, for me...
There was a lot of faffing around before the werewolf stuff happened, where a cow fell on them, and they're like, oh, that's fine. That sort of things happens all the time.
Yeah.
A cow fucking fell on them. Right on their campfire, and they're like, "Oh, why are you guys so spooked by? A cow just fell on you, completely mauled by some animals." And they're like, "Oh, well, we'll check it out in the morning." What?
And it's like for soldiers, they just never. There was never a soldiery plan. Which is my favorite part.
We
of
pointed
soldiers.
out so many times during that movie all the things you're like, "Oh, okay, you guys are supposed to be professionals, but what are you doing?" So they're supposed to be at the beginning of the movie sneaking up on another group and infiltrating the woods, but they are walking on the ridges so you can see their outlines on everything, which the enemies do, and whistling. This is not a stealth mission. They were whistling together as a team.
I remember. Yeah.
Ridiculous. And then they start a campfire. This is a strike stealth team.
Yeah.
Let's start a campfire.
They thought they were on a simulation mission or whatever. Training.
Ridiculous.
Whatever. Anyway, they should have been taken. They said they were taking it seriously, but they weren't because they really shitty.
Weren't.
But they were just shitty soldiers. Maybe that's what it's like in Scotland. I don't know. People from Scotland.
I doubt it.
I doubt it too.
I think they were just trying to get good shots and have some good
my
men
ancestors
sitting
are
around
from
the fire
Scotland.
scene. But it's just like the men wouldn't be sitting around the fire. They'd be like, okay, we're stealth now. We're all being serious.
I don't know.
It's like I always say, whenever you're in that kind of a situation, no one can shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Has anyone here ever had to creep through the woods with somebody? No one else can shut the fuck up.
Yeah, audience.
Yeah. Every single time.
Yeah, think about all the times you had to creep through the woods, and sneak up on people or whatever.
As youths, doing things. Whatever it may be.
Like LARPing.
A lot of LARPing. And people cannot shut the fuck up. Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, is it realistic then?
Yeah, I guess it is.
See?
People really can't shut the fuck up.
Oh, there you go.
But you would think soldiers would get it smacked out
That's
of them a few
what I mean.
times.
Like, okay, if we're
when
gonna,
your actual, like when people are playing games in the woods, okay, fine. But when your actual life is on, I guess they were in a training mission, so they didn't give a shit.
Well, like I said, it seemed like they were trying to take it seriously with all their talk, but with their actions, it was weak.
Then he turned his machine gun. He's like, kill shot. It was just like,
yeah.
That's just not a good idea. It's not a good idea with a handgun. It's not a good idea with a machine gun. What the fuck? It's just the shells are going to go right in your eyes.
No, they were bad soldiers.
Bad. I don't know if the actor thought that was a good choice. And that actor that couldn't throw.
Oh, my God, I know.
The sergeant in this movie is the guy who plays Sarge in a lot of Army movies. And he comes to throw this Molotov cocktail. And he's like, ah!
Yeah, he throws
it.
It
goes
like
literally
girl.
8 inches.
It's bad.
Ah!
It's bad.
Go moving on. Oh, great parts.
I wouldn't.
I believe we went over those in the gore section.
I mean, you laughed when the guy puked on his head.
Oh my God, that was a good part.
Yeah.
When in the middle of a very, very tense situation, the werewolves are attacking. One of the soldiers puked on the special ops guy's head, and he was really upset about it, even though earlier he had his guts literally ripped out. And so that really wasn't the worst thing that happened that day, and he got offended. Ridiculous. Some puke falls on you. That was nice. Oh, and the sword going through the guy's teeth.
Yeah.
And you're like, is this sexual? I think this is sexual.
I guess maybe that's just my brain.
And again, that's something where it's just like, oh, yeah, that sword they kept showing. I guess they used it on that soldier guy that ended up turning into a wolf. But I don't remember that happening.
I don't remember that happening. Because I mean,
we
just
usually talk
around.
a lot during movies, but we weren't talking that much during this. Things just sort of happen, and the editing is just sort of not really taking time to land on a moment, so you don't really notice. Anyway, Derry did it again. He knocked the same thing off the table, the exact same thing.
Well, when will you learn that he doesn't want that there?
My little pencil sharpener, and he keeps like saying, "Hey, fuck you! I'm gonna knock that off." Hold on, I gotta grab my baby. Oh,
He's gonna
baby.
attack you again.
No, he won't. He didn't attack me last time.
You were screaming.
He was just doing his love bites.
Okay.
And his claw attacks. I mean, they hurt, but he's not attacking. He's just giving me love.
I suppose.
Hello, little baby.
Sounds like you're in an abusive situation.
No, my cats love me. He loves me.
That's true, he does.
All right, Swind.
Oh, let's sing the song. SWIND. Are they in love or just horny? Swing.
Luckily, this is one of those few horror movies that really did not have a love situation.
Yeah, they
going
really.
on.
I don't even like at the very, very beginning. The throwaway couple that were camping.
Yes.
They were gonna fuck, but I mean, I don't know. It seemed like they were in a relationship and they were just fucking, you know.
Yeah.
So there wasn't really any.
It didn't really get too far. And then the zipper's going up, but then you remember they're werewolves, so you're like, are they pulling up that zipper with their tiny little talons, all delicate like?
Probably their mouth. 'cause
Predator
they're
style, where they're like,
dogs.
I'm just
love
going to
that.
hold it between my two talons and pull on the zipper. I mean,
Yeah.
their hands don't work right.
Anyway, so Swind is a.
Yeah,
there's just
nothing to swind in this
there's
one.
n-
There
no-
actually wasn't a relationship.
No one was swindled or even
Mhm.
attempted to swindle.
Which is pretty rare. Like, I feel like most movies now would try to make something happen between that woman
Yes,
and anybody
I
there.
kind of like that they just kind of let her be, even though she wasn't exactly. I don't know. No one in this movie really stood out or was important, to be honest with you.
And when you say it out loud, you're like, well, they were in a situation with a bunch of werewolves. Movies don't care. They always try to
Yeah.
work it in there somewhere. Like, oh, well, she's going to, even if they're going to have her turn at the end, they'd be like, oh, now I feel betrayed because we were falling in love.
Yeah,
All that bullshit. No, didn't happen. So, no Swind in this one.
no Swind.
Sorry.
Final score.
Final score is 38.5, which is pretty high.
It sounds not pathetic, but how does it compare to the other werewolves?
The Universal Wolfman got 18.5.
Mm.
American Werewolf in London got 40.
Oh.
The Howling got 30.5.
Mm.
And then Dog Soldiers is 38.5.
Oh, I'm surprised it beat the Howling.
It did.
Well, there you go.
And let me see how it beat the Howling because of kill factor, spookiness, and bar fighting.
So we have a winner for the werewolves is Werewolf in London.
Werewolf in London, American Werewolf in London. Woo, woo,
And how's
woo,
that
woo.
compare to our previous
Winners?
monsters, our other winners?
Well, in the Dracula's
Yes.
category, Lestat, of course, won. As we all know, Ripley loves Lestat.
And what was
And
the score?
his was 43.5, so that's a full 5 points more than Dog Soldiers. And then in the Frankenstein's category,
Yep.
the winner was Kindred, and he got a 41. So that's still like 2.5 points, 3
Wow.
points more than Dog Soldiers.
Well, that just shows you how werewolf movies do in the rankings. And you
Yeah.
know what? If we look at box office, I'm pretty sure it'll hold out that werewolf
That's
movies
true.
don't do super great.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just the truth.
Sorry, werewolf lovers.
Sorry, werewolves.
But really, that only proves the scientific nature of what we're doing here
Yes.
is correct.
And you may say, oh, Underworld did pretty good. It's a werewolf movie. No, it's a werewolf and vampire movie. All right?
Vampires.
The vampires are carrying that. And the whole movie is really about vampires killing werewolves, which everyone wants to see. Fuck those werewolves. Fuck them. Oh, my God. We finished another category.
We literally finished it. Now
Whew.
we have to move on to the last monster in the Universal Monsters series.
Oh, I know. And it's going to be mummies.
Mummies! Whoop,
And we
whoop.
already pretty much know what we're going to be doing for the series.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
We'll be doing the mummy, the mummy, the mummy, and
The Mummy
the mummy.
is going to be
Yeah,
good.
I believe that's going to be the lineup. Don't
So-
hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be watching the mummy.
Yeah.
Oh, bye, everybody. We'll see you next time for the mummies.
Mummy.
Mummies. Bye.
Why don't you come into our monster ball?